Hello, I'm Becca Swanson, and today I will be going over my thoughts on the virtual learning project I did with Megan McCreary. I will address what I think went well, what didn't go so well, and some important lessons I learned from completing the assignment. So, just a quick overview of what we did. We talked about 3 eras of music and Western culture. Megan gave some general descriptions on the periods and talked about some stylistic elements of the music during those times. And I gave examples of famous composers during these eras and explained how they influenced all music going forward. There were some things I thought went well during our lesson. I thought we had interesting visuals that were supplementary to our information. The pictures were mostly examples of things in the eras of music that we discussed, which we hoped would help deepen our students' understanding of the concepts. I also liked that we gave examples of songs that people would clearly know. This links their past knowledge to the current material, and I think listening to the actual music is a better way of showing what the music from the eras sound like rather than explaining with just words. Now, I think there was a lot that did not go as well. First, we chose to use Zoom and have our faces at the top corner of the screen. We thought it might be more engaging to have our faces showing while we were talking, but I think it ended up just being more distracting. It also didn't help that our faces were shown at bad angles with poor lighting. Once we realized that our peers just had audio, we realized that showing our faces was ultimately unnecessary. Our slides also switched from having lots of words and bullet points to having almost no words. My thoughts behind having less text on my slides was that we learned about having less text and more visuals. And while I definitely did that, I think it would have been more helpful to add more words to back up what I was saying, especially since I was talking about terms and places that people might have never heard before. If we were to do the assignment again, I think we would have found a happy medium for the amount of text on each slide. Unfortunately, my thoughts were not very well planned out. I rambled, I did not sound confident, and I talked about some pretty unnecessary things. I think it's good to put fun facts in a lesson, but it needs to be more clear what information is important and what information is supplementary. Finally, one of the biggest issues with our assignment is that our captioning situation turned south. We were about halfway through the editing with the captions on YouTube when we decided to save it just in case we got all the way to the end and something went wrong. So we saved it and tried to go back and finish the rest of it, and we weren't able to finish continuing to edit it. We ended up having to submit the half-finished edits on our captions, and that is unfortunate because I'm sure that was very difficult to read in the second half of the video. Well, it was great to watch the lessons of the other music education students because I got a better idea of how we probably should have done the lesson. They both had really clear voices, and I really liked their pacing of their ideas. I thought they thoroughly explained everything that they were talking about without dragging on. So, although this wasn't my greatest assignment, I still learned a lot about virtual learning. I learned that a lot of thought needs to go into making lessons exciting and valuable. In a classroom, students are in a space that is designed for learning, and everyone around you is doing the same thing. However, with virtual learning, it is so easy to get distracted watching a video alone on a laptop. That means more effort needs to be made by the teacher to create good learning, create a good learning experience. I think a big element of this is visuals. When the visuals correspond with what you're saying, students should be able to connect better with the material. Finally, I learned that I need to take some more time to figure out YouTube. The captions on YouTube are more difficult than I expected, and if I figure it out in the future, I think I will have a more smooth experience. So thank you so much for watching, and have a good day.